Welcome to the PPM Playbook podcast. I'm your host, Laura Watts, and for each episode, I will be talking to a guest to unpick the complexities of running effective programs and portfolios of work. My company, Verto, is a veteran in this space, having supplied a program management solution to public sector organisations since 2008. So without further ado, let's get started.
Hello, listeners. Welcome to the episode, the very first of the year. Yep, here we are in January 2026, and I don't know about you, but I feel like I have been back at work for months now, and Christmas is but a mere memory. But that is because we have got a lot of exciting initiatives going on here at Verto. But there is one activity that I have been particularly looking forward to this year, and it is this conversation today with a very special guest. So I'd like to introduce Christina Nicolescu, who is an experienced IT consultant based in Bucharest, Romania, with a very strong technical background and over 2 decades working in the tech sector. After earning her degree in computer science, Christina spent many years as a developer before progressing into project and program management and ultimately leading PMO functions across various industries, including telecom, banking and retail. About a year ago, Christina took the very bold step of launching her own consultancy, where she now partners with organisations to optimise their IT workflows and their people and processes. She is passionate about creating effective connections between people, processes and technology, but always keen to place people at the very heart of any transformation effort. Recently, Christina has also expanded her focus into leadership training, supporting technically skilled professionals transitioning into management roles. We are thrilled to have her here today to share her insights and experiences on driving transformation and delivering value through portfolio management. So welcome to the podcast, Christina.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation, Laura, and for this very nice introduction. Very glad to be here.
It's absolutely incredible to have you here. It really is. And that is an incredible CV that I just spoke of. And I know that there's more to it as well, as I've actually just recently seen on your LinkedIn as well. So there's lots more. But I wondered if you could start today by helping us link your early career, which is obviously built around your technical foundations. How does that technical grounding inform how you now think about that trifecta of people, process and technology? How does that work together in PMO or delivery functions?
As you said, I have finished the computer science, and that engineering background trained me to think in systems and in workflows, boxes and workflows. And over time, I realized technology should not be the starting point when we are creating a PMO or any kind of digitalization project. We need first to understand the processes, how we work today, how the decisions flow, where the process break down. So thinking first about the processes, then we need to understand how people are using those processes, if they are using the processes. And if we understand this, then the next step would be to align the processes with people. So adjusting the processes in order for people to use them properly. Once the processes are clear and people understand the processes, understand how they use them and why they are using them, then technology becomes as an enabler. And the delivery becomes transparent and predictable. So basically, indeed, as you say, it's a triangle. There are 3 concepts that needs to work very well together.
Yeah, that's great context actually, and you're absolutely right. The technology is the enabler, but primarily the processes have got to suit the people. The people have got to understand the processes, and the two have got to work together, because if people don't understand why the processes is in place,
exactly.
it's not going to be a useful process, and the technology will fall short because it's going to be underpinning something that doesn't work anyway. Yeah, that's great context. And could you now tell us more about how you made that leap into the world of transformation and change within the PMO sphere?
The leap happened when I noticed a pattern. I like very much patterns and discovering patterns. And what I have realized is that the projects were delivered, but the leaders didn't trust the information they have related to the progress of these projects. So PMO, a project management office, became the natural solution to create consistency and transparency, having a common language. And this transformation process will help organizations to move from that fragmented and inconsistent reporting to confident decision making. This is what leaders need, confident decision making.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I love that it was a pattern for you. That's lovely to hear. So nowadays, you work with a lot of leaders. Do you think it's important for leaders to have that clear, real-time view of what is happening across their change portfolio, sort of from the top all the way down? So what are the benefits for an organization of having that sort of hierarchical view when it comes to the visibility of data, rather than those isolated pockets of reporting?
Mm-hmm. That's a very important topic. We need to understand that the leaders, they do not manage individual projects. They manage a whole organization. They need to take care about the overall risks, about investments, about outcomes. And speaking about the patterns that I was telling you about, what I hear from the upper management was, I do not know the real status. I do not know the risks. I do not know if my projects are profitable. So the visibility on the information needed by the leaders is fragmented. The information is not coming in real time. In this situation, the decisions that they need to take upon that overall aspects of a company or an institution, the decisions are delayed or based on a subjective opinions. And those bad decisions can affect the health of a business. That's a very, very important topic to think about. And having a coherent hierarchy, meaning all the projects grouped in a program and the programs grouped in portfolio, then allows leaders to see patterns. Speaking again about patterns, they see dependencies on different projects or different programs, and they can act properly before an issue becomes a crisis.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, before a risk becomes an issue and an issue becomes a crisis. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Speaking about risks, it's very important that everybody treat the risks, having the same understanding on the risks upon a project, and having this across the organization. Also, the progress or the status of a project to be treated in the same way across the organization. That then the leaders who need to manage the whole organization, they can focus on decision instead reconciliation between various perspectives on various projects. So it's very important topic for the leaders.
And so do you, just sidelining a little bit here then, you've mentioned there it's important that the risks are understood in the same way. How do you ensure that happens? Does that come from a structured view of data and a structured view of the change portfolio as well?
Exactly, right. And also some good definitions of what risks, how we value the risks. We can say the risk has a probability from 1 to 5. When I put 1, when I put 5.
Yes, of course, because you don't want somebody to perceive a particular risk as an absolute crisis when actually another team just sees it as a minor issue. Yeah, that's very true.
Exactly.
Yeah. And can you share an example of where a technology or a platform enabled a shift in how delivery was approached, rather than just people saying, "Oh, we need to do the same thing but a little bit faster." Can you provide an example of where the entire approach was shifted or changed in some way?
Mhm. I will take the example exactly with the status of a project.
Right.
Usually the status of projects are manually created by project managers based on the creativity of each project manager. And it is
Right.
sent
Yeah.
by mail. By the moment a leader opens the mail or understand what the author written there, the status may already be obsolete. And you can take decisions taken too late or taking wrong decisions.
Right.
And let's imagine if we have a platform that is aggregating all the status of all the projects, and the status are written in the same format with specific template. All the statuses are gathered in a program structure, gathering all the data in a status of that program, and all this in a portfolio structure, in a very nice hierarchical format. So the leaders change the conversation. Instead of asking, is this project on track? The conversation became, is it still the right investment for my company? And in this way, that platform, the technology, help organization to shift from a reactive to a proactive management.
Mm-hmm. Just on that point, I was going to say that's a really interesting point to do with prioritization, isn't it? And constantly reevaluating as you go.
Exactly. If you have the real information and in real time, meaning, then you can see if some projects are at higher risks, and you can shift the prioritization between the projects. But it's very important to have that portfolio level visibility and structured data in order to make the difference between managing individual projects and going to strategic decisions. What leaders need, they need to take strategic decisions.
Yes, absolutely. And, linking to the strategy as well, there's a lot of merit in having a structured approach to things like status updates and status reports, because it takes the guesswork out of it as well. Often these programs of work are hugely complex, and they span maybe months, if not years, in terms of resourcing and everything. And to give somebody a free text box to provide a status, and like you say, leaving it up to the creativity of the of the program manager at the time, there's no real benefit in it anyway, from a time perspective, or from an overall status of your portfolio perspective, when they can come back wildly different. So I can see that. I think that's a really interesting point. So moving on then, in your opinion, what are the key building blocks or the fundamentals for turning poor data into a strategic asset?
A very, very, very good question. And I love the discussion about data because, again, the technology is based on consistent and trusted data. And what I think are the building blocks is, first, the data quality. It's very important to have cleaned data, to have it standardized, and to agree on the definitions. So everybody have the same understanding what that field means or what that text means. The second one is synchronization. Why I'm saying that? Because usually we are having several sources of data in a company. Usually, most of the organization are having various sources of data. And we need to assure that all these sources of data are aligned and not producing different versions of truth, So we need to have a single source of truth that we can trust. And the third one, it's also important from my point of view, is the relevance of the data, meaning measuring what actually support the decision of the leaders. And so what are the KPIs that are aligned to objectives? What do we want to measure? What do we want to follow? That's a very, very important point for the KPIs measured to be relevant and meaningful for the leadership in order to take those strategic decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. And that must be quite a difficult thing to grapple with at the beginning, especially like I was saying, you know, with these large, we work with a lot of large central government, large local government organizations that have these hugely complex projects. And so to actually nail down, right, this is going to be relevant to track, this is just out of scope, this is not going to be relevant. And to know that right at the beginning of quite a large and complex program must be a really difficult thing to pin down. So yeah. So next then, you know, in a world of more digital tools, more AI, more dashboards, platforms, you know, all of that, do you think the biggest barrier to better delivery is the tool itself, or the platform itself, or the technology itself, or rather, do you think it's how that tool is used and embedded into the organization?
Frankly, it's almost never the tool. It's about how the tool is configured, how the tool is adopted, and how the tool is maintained. And going back to the beginning of our discussion about processes and about people, any kind of digital tool, any kind of platform creates value when it reflects the real process, and it's supported by trustful data, and people understand how and especially why to use that tool in what conditions. And what I have realized is also very, very important that the dashboards evolve in the direction the business or the organization evolves. Because if I'm having very nice dashboards, but they are reflecting my status from 5 years ago, it creates noise. It becomes the dashboard, it's noise.
Yes.
And we are blaming the tool, finally. So we should think not blaming the tool, but understanding how was configured, how people understand the tool, how proper they see when the tool needs to be changed in order to reflect how the business evolves.
Yes. This is why you are such a wonderful guest today, because we wholeheartedly agree on that point. if not anything else, although actually everything so far I've agreed with. But yeah, we've done a podcast in the past as well about understanding the why. And it's you can have the best tools in the world, but if the people that you are providing the tools for do not understand why they are supposed to use these tools, then the adoption rate will be abysmal. So yes, I completely agree with you there. Yeah, it's something we talk about on a very regular basis. So moving on now to focus more on people and culture. So the cultural side of digital transformation is often underplayed in delivery. We've just spoken of that a little bit. You know, it's all about the people, the culture. What part of a delivery team's mindset or habits do you think organizations most neglect?
Oh, that's a very sensitive question.
You don't need to name any names.
No. But what I have experienced in the organization is they often neglect two things, offering context and creating psychological safety. And those two are very well related one to each other. And I will explain why. Delivery teams are very good at execution and delivering, but they are not or rarely encouraged. Encourage meaning to create a safe space to understand the wider context and to question the priorities, to raise risks, early risks, to challenge the status quo. And
Right,
instead,
yeah.
the habit is, okay, I deliver what you ask, and that's it. And projects move forward, they are delivered, and the critical information and the issues arrives too late in the process. And frankly, I consider that this is one of the reasons why we are firefighting, because a lot of managers are telling me, I'm always under pressure. I'm busy. I'm resolving issues from production and so on. Maybe we should think a little bit on the planning part, letting our teams understand more than just execution. And actually, this is a healthy delivery culture, encouraging the curiosity, the transparency, the early conversations, and creating that safe space that I was saying, the psychological safety, to put candid questions. Why are we doing this like that? Can we do it in another way?
It's analysis, isn't it? It's analysis at every single stage, and having that confidence to, like you say, question and just question what's happening. I suppose that being built into program management as a whole are, it's the benefits realization and the lessons learned. But like you say, it's almost a little bit too late. Whereas actually there should be analysis and reflection going on right at the beginning during the planning stages as well. But do you think that is synonymous with delivery teams, that they're quite sort of tunnel visioned and just do what's in scope and don't question anything else? Or do you think it's a learning or a behavior that could be learned from delivery teams? Or do you think are there more people on the sidelines that could pick up that question mindset?
I think everybody should do this questioning and the curiosity. It doesn't matter if you are, I don't know, from finance or from procurement or any other team, not only delivery, but just put some questions and try to understand candidly, putting good questions. And also it's a learning process with ourselves, because if we put questions, then our mindset is changing and we can see differently. In the next project, I have another experience because I already discussed about that in my previous project. And it doesn't matter what type of project I'm having or what type of activity I'm doing.
Yeah. So you're always looking to optimize. Basically, you're teaching yourself to just constantly question, constantly optimize every single stage. Yeah,
it's a very hard process. It's a very hard process because people are used to stay in their comfort zone, and sometimes is easier to do what you have asked for me. But I don't think it's beneficial for the organization, but also for the people themselves. This is how we are evolving, person.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are entering now in a bit of psychological discussion.
We are, aren't we? Yeah, which I know is another aspect of what you've done in the past, isn't it? So yeah, very much your wheelhouse. So how important is building delivery maturity through training and like an organization's community activities versus simply, new processes or improved governance, do you think?
Process and governance, I consider they are necessary. Organization, institution, the big ones, they need them. But I consider they are not sufficient, just having them and putting them on the walls. The delivery maturity comes when people understand why, speaking about why those processes exist, how we use them, and how we use them intelligently and useful for our work. And very important is to adapt the processes. That's another point, because usually we create a process and we let it there. We need to adapt the process, how the organization evolves. And getting the understanding of these processes should be done by training and guidance, of course. And I say constant training. I mean, it's not enough, from my experience, it's not enough one training and that's it. Everybody will use that process or that workflow. It needs to be constant training and guidance. Mm-hmm. Also, the communities of practice, I think they are a very good approach to get the delivery maturity, because people are sharing their knowledge, they are sharing experience, they try new things together, a proof of concept or a demo, and the information is spread all over the organization, and we have a consistent approach across the teams.
Yes. I think we find that internally here as well. People learn in vastly different ways to each other as well. So again, like you said, just issuing out a process, good luck everybody, see you later. That might work for one or two people, but what about the people who need to refer back to video content? What about the people who prefer to sit down with their peers and have a training session over a lunch and learn session or something like that? It might be external training, so people learn in vastly different ways, and so you sort of need to create the opportunities. We have another thing where we try and identify champions in the business, exactly. in organizations, client organizations, so that we can train them up, and then they can learn by example, show their peers. So it's it's absolutely vital to it's not treat it as a one and done, see you later, good luck with it.
Never.
Approach.
I mean, from my experience, it never works.
Never ever. Yeah.
And a very good example, I have it about adoption of artificial intelligence, because everybody is talking about that. And what I have experienced at my customers are these communities of practice. So having people gathered and they are trying something at home and coming there then at the office together and say, look what I have found, look what I've trained. I tried this platform, I tried that platform, here is working this, there is working that. And I mean, it's such an improvement, and all kind of innovative things are coming from these communities of practice. I advise everybody to use them.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Peer-to-peer learning, such a valuable tool for any organization. So your consultancy, Innovatio and Digital Consultancy, you also run training courses for managers and leaders. Can you give us some insight into what managers need to learn and why?
From what I have experienced, many organizations are promoted excellent technical people into management roles, and they assume they will figure out. But what we see instead after that promotion is that without any guidance and support, those new managers are struggling. Because they are very good at the technical, at the business activity that they are doing, but management is another role. And they struggle with influence, they struggle with prioritization of resources, with decision making.
Yeah.
And all these are impacting their teams and are impacting also the performance of the delivery of the projects. Because every team needs a driver. And if the driver is saying, I don't know, we will take that path or that path, I don't know. So team is confused. That's why we created programs from managers. So we are not doing only trainings, but we are doing programs starting with the first 90 days. What I'm going to do in my first 90 days in a managerial role. Then we focus how to adapt the communication in the new role, how to gain trust, because it's another type of trust. Trust from the team, from your peers, from upper management, from your customers. Yeah. We also talk about business concepts, because on the technical part, I do not touch. As a technical person, I do not touch I do not know about what P&L means, profit and loss, and all kind of aspects. So we train about how to do efficient planning based on a forecast, how to drive and lead the change. And it's very important about all these aspects and all this guidance to be done to the managers, because if we want strong delivery, means we need to have confident and supported managers of their delivery teams.
Absolutely. It has to be led from the top down, doesn't it? That is, often the way. And if they are not supported or do not have the training and the information and knowledge to lead from the top down, then that might crumble. Yeah,
exactly. Maybe some of the person, they are not suitable. They are very good on the technical part, and they are not very good at the management, because again, they're different mindsets, different aspects. And we need to think a bit when we are making those promotions.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point. And I bet that happens time and time again. You become an expert in the thing that you have trained to do, and you've maybe gone up the ranks from, from project manager to up to portfolio leader, transformation director, something amazing. But if you don't have those leadership skills, which you're absolutely right, it's a completely different role. So how do people know who is right and who is not right to promote into that leadership position? Do you find that some people, it's just not suited to them?
I think it's very important, because some of people desire that managerial roles. It's very important to have a very open discussion about what that new role means. What are the expectations? What you are going to do? Usually they just give a job description and that's it. Or even no job description. You are just promoted on the role. You need first to have that kickoff session between the manager and the person who is promoted, and explain. And maybe after that person sees and put questions and start thinking, is that good for me or not? I think that's a very good step, and a very good step to be done. And also it's important for the person who is promoting. I mean, you are in that position because you are a good leader, you are a good people manager. Then you need to have the nose and psychological skills to understand if that person is suitable or not.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's probably also important for the person being promoted to know, yes, what is now expected of them, but also now what is not expected of them. There's going to be a little bit of delegation, and all of the training that they've been through, they might not be doing or using those skills that they've learned in the same way as before. But yeah, really interesting. I'm surprised there's not more of this going around, because I bet this happens more often than not. Yeah,
it happened to me many years ago.
Right.
And I still see that pattern when I'm discussing with young professionals. And when I'm telling them about my experience, they say, I have the same problem as you. I mean, come on, it took 10, 15 years since my first promotion. We are still doing this. Yeah, something must be changed.
Yeah, absolutely. So were you promoted into a leadership role that you weren't comfortable in, or?
I was comfortable. I like very much this type of role, but nobody told me, okay, what is expected from me from now on?
I see. Yeah.
What I learned on the spot, what profit and loss means, what costs means, what is a forecast, what is a pipeline. I never had this type of training, the business type of training, let's say.
So very much in the deep end, and could have benefited with just a little bit more context beforehand then.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Okay, so moving on just a little bit then. So for our public sector audience, we work quite a lot with UK public sector organisations. What advice would you give about making delivery teams feel less like accidental project managers and more like empowered professionals? We come up against this, or not against this, we just hear from our clients a lot that there's the core project team, maybe there's a PMO in place, but the amount of work that is done by other teams and people who are not trained project professionals, where the work that they do and the impact of the work that they do is fundamental to the project itself or the portfolio. And it sort of places them in this sort of funny, no man's realm of being this accidental project manager with no formal training. So what advice would you give the delivery teams who are sort of dealing with these?
Indeed, I think the biggest shift is moving from execution to empowering the managerial roles. Empowerment comes by giving teams clarity on the purpose and providing visibility, and especially visibility on how their work contributes to the health of the institution. When people understand why and how their project matters and how their work matters, and if they have tools to help them in their professional work, they stop feeling like accidental and start acting with ownership, taking the ownership. So giving the context and providing visibility. And then other aspect that I think is very important is about simplifying the governance. Okay, we are having guidelines and so on, but sometimes all the bureaucracy is so pushing down a project manager. And I think it's better to look a little bit about that governance and eliminate the waste. Eliminate the unnecessary meetings. We are speaking about AI here, automate the repetitive tasks, and all kind of aspects to ease a bit about the process, the governance that is in an institution.
Yeah. No, I think that's sound advice. So PMOs, looking at those, focusing on PMOs at the moment, they can be seen as a bit of a rule enforcer role, can't they, rather than value creators? And what would it take for a PMO, in your opinion, to shift from being that policing function to more of a strategic partner for the business?
During the years, I've seen 3 versions of PMOs.
Okay.
It's first the control offices, the policing function, as you are saying, creating templates, making reports, verifying that the process are compliant with various aspects. This is version 1.0.
Right.
Version 2.0 is the enabling PMO. So on top of the templates and the reports, I'm building up methodologies. I offer support to the delivery function. I make coaching and training. So it's a little bit another.
Yeah.
Still, we are living in a very dynamic and disruptive world. So still version 2.0 is not enough from my point of view.
Right,
we need 3.0.
Okay.
And I called this 3.0 the chameleon PMO.
I love it. I've not heard of this before. Yes.
It's a more strategic and adaptive and value-driven PMO. And what's the differentiator for that PMO, the chameleon PMO? It recognizes the needs of various delivery styles and gives the delivery teams options to choose the most appropriate approach for specific projects. There are projects that are complex and they need to follow a specific template and workflow, but there are projects that are just very fast, very small, and you should not go to all those processes. So allow the delivery function to choose the right approach for the specific projects. Yes, we have the guidelines, but offer flexibility. This is the main part, offering the flexibility. Then another very important aspect is to create the templates and the KPIs that the PMO is delivering. Co-create these templates and KPIs with your stakeholders, not just dictating. These are the templates, these are the KPIs, took them.
Yeah.
But discuss and co-create the templates and the KPIs together with your stakeholders, build them together so they become relevant for the team. And they are going to adopt them easier if you put them, all the stakeholders, in the boat with you.
Yeah.
And last but not least, it's creating the dashboards, offering real-time view on the portfolio of the projects, offer relevant data and transparency, what we have talked about. And what I've seen that also at Virtual, you have this type of approach, let's say.
Yeah, yeah.
So the successful PMO today is adaptive and offering value and connected to the company strategy and delivery.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. I love that term of a chameleon PMO as well. I can see how the 2.0 version as well could really be incorporated into that, because to be that enabler, to offer the training, but then be dynamic enough to understand what type of program portfolio you're dealing with, what type of delivery team, how people learn as well, bringing some of that in. I think that's a really lovely answer. So the next question remains on the PMO, and it's actually an interesting one for us. I'll tell you why in a minute. So what 3 things would you advise a PMO to prioritize this year? And the reason why it's interesting is actually we're running a webinar next week on trends that we're seeing for this year. So it's going to be really interesting to see if any of yours match any of ours.
Yeah, that's very good. I think first is to understand actually what we discussed at the beginning, to understand how the process is at this moment and where are the pain points. Then the second part is creating the structure. If we do not have the structure, to somehow have a criteria how to gather the projects in a program and the portfolio. That's the second one. And the third one is start creating those dashboards and actually to align the dashboards to what organization or the institution needs to see, not just creating them to have a dashboard, but to align and to have a relevant information in those dashboards.
Yeah, I think that sounds great. One of which of those was similar to one of the ones we have. So that's really great. It now gives people an opportunity to listen to the podcast and attend the webinar to find out what our other trends might be. That's brilliant. So how do you think that organizations can measure whether their delivery function is truly adding value? It's a difficult one. We've spoken obviously about it needs to be relevant. There's no point in tracking data that's just that doesn't make any change.
Absolutely.
But how can they measure if they're being truly effective?
I think we should move and make the shift from measuring outputs, meaning how many reports we have, how many dashboards, or how many hours I spent in that project, to the outcomes, and especially to measure the value that we bring to our customer. It doesn't matter if it's an internal customer or an external customer. What are the benefits we bring to that customer through the delivery function, through the PMO, you name it.
Yes.
Also, we should need to measure how we are doing the decisions, how quickly we are taking the decisions, how good are those decisions for the health of the organization. And also speaking about the risks, how we are managing those risks. Do we have the same understanding of how risk is treated, how early in the process the risk appears, how we are reducing the risk. So yeah, this type of measurements, because if we have good measure and relevant measures, and then the delivery help the leader to take better decision, and this is adding value.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, thank you for that. That's it's always a very difficult one, but you've described a quite sort of almost intangible in some of those, but I think just even looking at the lessons learned after a project has finished and working out even if it is more of a qualitative look at the data. Exactly. And the information. Exactly. and the outputs, like you say.
What I have experienced is the discussions, the fair discussions, face to face, in a video call with our customers, and put candid questions. What change have you seen after our delivery? What ideas do you have for us? What are your pain points? Through these discussions with our customers, and we found a lot of ideas, very open, without agenda sometimes, but relevant information are coming from those discussions.
Yeah, fantastic. So last few questions now. So looking back, is there a belief that you held about how delivery should work that has since you've changed, or maybe you've challenged?
I think what I faced a lot in my years is in my working experience is about the leaders not explaining the why to their teams. I mean, they keep so much the information for them. You do not have to tell every kind of data, or I don't know what kind of issues, but select from information that you have some information that it's important for the delivery team. And this I struggle a lot to change the mindset. And also it's very important to involve people early. It's somehow related with the why. Involve them early in the process, offer transparency to them. And people will feel seen, they will take ownership, and they will come with such wonderful ideas that might somehow be new business, new directions. But it's very important for them to be seen.
I wholeheartedly agree. I think that often, I think often leaders and business professionals of all levels can put their work clothes on in the morning and step out of their home, go into an office environment, or even just be in whatever their office environment is, and think very professionally. But ultimately, people are dealing with people every single day, and people are just people. People are, supporting people, selling to people, working with people. And I think sometimes it can get a bit lost, and that's exactly what needs to be brought back. If people, were treated just like people and explained the why, I'm sure that business would be far easier to do.
It's changing. I mean, I've seen a lot of changes in this direction, but somehow they are uncomfortable to offer that information, and they do not know what to select, what to say or what not to say. But things are changing.
Yeah, that's good to hear. So finally then, my final question for you today: what one change do you think could make the biggest difference tomorrow in a delivery approach? If you're going to suggest anything.
There is a quote: celebrate the journey, not the destination. And
Yes.
I think we need to celebrate any kind of small win that we are having during the process. Many times the projects are so complex, it took a long time, and we have encountered a lot of problems. But if we have one single win, if we learn something from that project, let's celebrate it.
I love that. I think that's so vital, so important. That's wonderful. Right. Well, Christina, that is all of my questions. That's all from me. Thank you so much for talking to me, for talking to us today. Your career has obviously given you so much insight, and I'm just delighted that you agreed to come and share that with me, share it with our listeners today. So I'm really, really genuinely, truly grateful for you giving up so much of your time to plan
Thank
and
you.
record this episode with me.
It was lovely to talk to you and to your listeners. And yeah, I really liked the discussion.
I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased. You will have to come back on another time. We'd love to have you back. But
anytime, I'd love to.
Fabulous. And thank you to all of you out there, to our listeners as well. If you made it this far in the episode, then you should definitely hit subscribe if you haven't done already. So therefore you can go back and you can listen to all of our previous episodes as well, and obviously stick with us because we record every single month. So you'll have to look out for our future episodes too. And with that, goodbye for now.
Goodbye.